圆满佛果，使大家放放大自身的菩提心，以及方便广大的众生同机，并且注意如法的谛听。
Please listen to the teaching, cultivating the two aspects of supreme motivation, the vast ascension of the Mahayana Bodhicitta, and the vast method of the Bodhicaryavatara, so as able to be all thinking as limitless as space to the state of the unsurpassed Buddhahood.
接下来呢，我们今天继续讲龙天心水前行引导文。龙天心水前行引导文呢，我们外前行的部分讲完，然后呢，内前行的部分呢，也是在最后的一个部分，就是破瓦法的部分。之前呢我们全部都讲完了，今天呢就我们开始继续讲这个破瓦法的部分。
So today we'll be continuing on the teaching of the Longchen Yingke preliminary teaching. We have finished the outer preliminary teaching, and today on the inner preliminary teaching, we are currently on the last part, or the last major topic, which is the teaching of Hoa. So we have finished the previous teaching, and today we'll be continuing on the Hoa teaching as well.
梦境中的推进到本质，都过去了，就是到本人。本体看了，看见到本尊，超越了你人的生活逻辑。在这里，有为悲悯愚昧之众生，有为舍受罪孽深重者，有以善巧法调难化度。南华众无等上师菩萨或丁尼，首先就是华众罗区，在每一个章节之前呢，他为自己的根本上师做一个顶礼。在这个做顶礼的时候呢，首先就是讲一份上师的功德。这里讲的上师的功德是什么呢？通常我们对于一个世间人来说，我们对于谁会有特别的悲悯心，或是特别照顾什么样的人呢？我们都是首先照顾对自己好的人，或是自己的亲人，或是自己的朋友。但是呢，就是高僧大德的佛菩萨们就不是这样的。佛菩萨们呢，龙运中呢，比较的这个第一个就是，他们特别是为那些愚昧、无知的这些众生呢，特别的悲悯，因为这些众生特别的可怜。他们没有办法找到自己的路，他们也不知道该走什么样的路程，所以他们特别的可怜。然后呢，就是特别是对这样的众生呢，升起悲悯心，尤其是就是说罪孽深重的人，尤其是对罪孽深重的人呢，诸佛菩萨们特别的就是慈悲对他们特别的升起悲悯心，因为罪孽深重的众生，他将会要感受就是这个无比的痛苦，因为他做了很多的业，造了很多的业。当他要感受这些痛苦的时候，这是非常非常可怜的，非常非常痛苦所以呢，对这些东西呢，就是非常的特别的这个升起悲悯心。我们都可以看听。然后呢，就还有一个，这里就是这两句呢，主要是讲的这个佛菩萨们也就是包括仁波切他的上师的慈悲心的功德方面提了慈悲心的功德。然后下两句呢，就是下一句讲的就是善巧的方面。善巧是怎么样的善巧呢？因为在末法时代的众生烦恼粗重、邪知、邪见、邪念就是非常的广。非常的多，所以呢，对这些众生呢，他以非常善巧的方便呢，去度化这些有情众生，所以呢，具得善巧以及大悲心的上师，无等大师，我向你顶礼，就是这个意思。我正好在那个回音你调一下现在听得到吗，大家？
So here it says, Supreme is your compassionate action for supreme. Supreme is the way you embrace great evildoers as your disciples. Supreme are your skillful method with the heart of pain. Fearless teacher, at your feet I bow. So here, Master Rinpoche, at every major before. Okay, can you hear me? Who's she?
No.
So nobody can hear me now? Can you hear me now?
No.
Okay, all right. So
如
here,
果大家 if you can't hear, please tell us, OK？
okay.
如果是听不到我们讲话就没有什么意义的，所以大家如果听不到、听不清，就告诉我们啊。
Okay, so everyone okay? Yeah? Okay.
网络上
就是听您的听不到，
我就听不到，
对，好像这个没有连。
没有他的那个。
还有
这样可以了吗？OK，
video sound back.
可以了啊。OK。
Yeah. So here, I first controversial at the beginning of every major topic, he would first concentrate to his guru, and first he would talk about the quality of this guru.
Can you hear, translator? Not clear? Maybe you can sit closer.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I will just put it here.
Yeah.
Maybe that's better. So here, Rinpoche at the beginning of every major topic, he will prostrate to his guru, and then he will first talk about the quality of his guru. Here in this world, generally, what kind of the people that we care the most about, usually for us as mentally sentient beings, are those who are close to us, such as our families, as well as friends. However, that's not the case for Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. For them, they especially care about those who are considered evildoers or ignorant, the most ignorant sentient beings, because for these beings, they don't know how to, which path they should lead in their life and how they should progress in their life, and yet they have committed so much of these negative karma. So thereby the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have utmost compassion for these type of people, for these sentient beings, especially those with the really severe negative karma or the evil doers. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have the utmost compassion for them, because for these beings, those with the evil doers and really severe negative karma, what's waiting for them is just really to endure the unlimited suffering in their future. And when they're actually experiencing suffering there, it's actually really painful. It's actually really hard to bear. So thereby, because of this, thereby the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have aroused the utmost compassion for them. So here, Bhante Rinpoche also mentioned so thereby in the first two lines, Bhante Rinpoche mentions the quality of compassion of his true guru. And then the next phrase is the supreme or your skillful method with the heart to tame. So here you mentioned that because of these sentient beings at this degenerate time, they tend to really have hard, wrong view, and they're really hard to tame, to benefit. Thereby, his guru, other of his quality of his guru is the using of the really utmost skillful method or skillful means, thereby to benefit these sentient beings. So he first would sort of act for Ray as a praise on the quality of his own guru.
Tene dakami mangang powa magum sanji sanji ji chedne shim powa la yewa na te rab chu tawa jindip ji powa tamjang no ku je zo zong ji ko powa tama chu ku tame tu ji powa dong tamal wan de shi sen den ji powa shim bo jin den ji sto ji powa tam na yo do te la tam bo rab chu ku tawa jindip ji powa na tender anel ma chu bi tawa mano pa ji la chi jong ko bi shi pa nam Chika si kata chochoji sanglamni sanglamni yang taripi na latini yang taripi na latini chika hongtam poatin chika hongtam poatin tenim dong nopi chezo zongchika poa na chezo yemit ji namjuro kopi shishon yima tavi jima tavi takana starjong wa tawatsira Menzies war tun chris no van charva tamyam zong juishi con in tabat kami tuji ko na sama menshi wong to jong tan sing la ju magic ba je to la muga she de jong ba to dam na tam ba nam chika na to ba ne ro tam ba shen ni to mu ge ti je so ba ta ma to pim na go na ba ka jong nyam ji chen go de ba ju a tri nam charva na tin ni jong ta bi jian ni se po de ta ma de shi de ju po na sa mo ma la lam chin de shi da sim Pranamshi ji tuli lam Runggon de shi dong sen na shi Runggon de shi dong nam dewa chama to pi zhong saran de shi ji pu wa sam yin de shi ji pu wa sheng gu jin de yu ji de zhou ji pu wa na sto pan chou de ji gang zong nan su le de wa te wa de shi ji nin chen pan nam ju wa zan chi ka ma war tu na yu pa la so ran de ba te ye se de yong shi sheng gu la po de pa la tong lam to pa ji Hypergute Jimmy Zali, Tonam Chimba Matoper, symbol of our mother, you found geophones. 现在接下来呢，就是不经修持便可成佛之临终诀窍，劫道往生法之引导分三。往生分类，往生修法，往生仪轨。往生分类分五：立根者见解应持法身之往生；中根者生缘双运报身之往生；下根者无量大悲化身之往生；平凡者具三相之往生，以大悲铁钩超度亡灵之往生。立根者见解应持法身之往生，在此生自相续生起无畏实有之无缺见解，并不断冲洗的人，在年终时依靠本来清净之密道法界觉性要诀而往生以法身中因。所以呢，这里就是我们所谓的法身的法呢，那个破瓦法呢，它分成5种破瓦法，5种破瓦法里面就是一个是法身的破瓦法，一个是报身的破瓦法，一个是化身的破瓦法，一个呢是平凡的破瓦法，还有一个呢就是叫做大悲铁钩度亡灵的破瓦法，这一共呢5种破瓦法。5种破瓦法里面呢，第一种就是法身的破瓦法。那个法身的破瓦法，我们是怎么样叫做法身的破瓦法呢？法身的破瓦法主要就是在今生修持大圆满，修持大圆满，然后呢，在自己的相续当中升起了无物的见解就是对大圆满的见解升起了无物的见解。不但是升起这种见解，而且呢，在升起之后，在不断的串习或者实修依靠这样的时候呢， 然后呢，在死亡的时候或者临终的时候呢，就本来清净的密道在这个应用本来清净密道而这个解脱于法身的境界，也叫做法身的佛法。
So here, transfer of consciousness, the instruction for the dying, Buddhahood without meditation. So in terms of the Poma practice itself, there's divided into three subtopics here in this text: the category of the Poma practice itself, and then the Poma practice itself as well. So here, regarding the category of the Poma practice, there are actually 5 different kinds of transference of consciousness, or the Poma practice. First is superior transference through Dharmakaya through the seal of the view, middling transference to Sambhogakaya through the union of generation and perfection phase, lower transference to the Nirmanakaya through immeasurable compassion, ordinary transference using 3 metaphors, and transference performed by the dead with a hook of compassion. So here, this is divided the Poma practice, or here says the transference of consciousness divided into 5 major types, 5 major different ways to engage in practice. The first one is the transference or the pull of the Dharmakaya. This is what it means that in this life, the person or the practitioner is able to engage in the practice of the Dzogchen, and then in the mind stream of this practitioner has arisen the unmistaken view of the Dzogchen practice itself. Not only the view has arisen, the unmistaken view has arisen, but also as the practitioner continues to practice and throughout the life, at the end of the life, the practitioner is able to attain liberation by entering the path of the primordial purity and to attain the liberation as through the Dharma as Dharmakaya.
然后中根者生缘双运报身之往生，对于生缘无二之瑜伽极为贤热，并且对于如幻之圣尊身相具纯熟力的人，临终时中阴的迷乱显现出现之同时，往生于双运智慧身中。第二个呢，就是报身的这个破瓦法。那报身的破瓦法就是什么呢？报身的破瓦法是在今生对升起次第和圆满次第、生缘次第非常熟练的人，然后他对所有的这个圣尊的身相都是如幻如梦般的。这样的观修呢非常熟练的人，这样什么样的人呢？就是在我们中阴的时候显现这些中阴的所有的景象的时候呢，他就可以以在活着的时候所练习的这些生缘次第，跟这个中阴的时候的这些迷乱的这些幻觉或者现象来接洽，然后呢就来修行。这样的时候呢，他可以往生于报身的这个果位这个就是我们说往生于双运报身果位，基本上可能就是在法性中阴的时候跟这个我们所看到的这些五路百分的像这样的过程当中他就可以成为报身的成就的。
Excuse me, let me finish the previous reading the text. The first superior transference to the Dharmakaya to the seal of the view. People who have developed and established familiarity with the unmistaken view of the unfabricated natural state during their lives can, at the moment of death, put into practice the essential point of space and awareness of the secret path of the primordial purity of Trekcho, and transfer their consciousness into the expanse of the Dharmakaya. So that was the first one, and now the second type of the Poma practice is here as middling transference to the Sambhogakaya through the union of generation and perfection phase. People well accustomed to practicing the generation and perfection phases together as one indivisible yoga and fully trained in seeing the form of the deity as being just like a magical display can, when the hallucination of the intermediate state arises at the time of death, transfer their consciousness into union wisdom kaya. So here the second one is the power of the simple kaya, is that the practitioner in this life have already become very familiar with the practice of the generation as well as completion phase, and they're able to fully train to see these deities at just like a magical display. So here, thereby, if one practitioner is able to attain this level during the time of the border state, when these hallucination or manifestation manifest or appear in the border state, the practitioner is able to apply what he has learned and what he has practiced, and then attain liberation as a simple kaya. So thereby here, it is pertained to the time of the during the intermediate state or the border state, at the border of reality, when the 100 peaceful and wrathful deity manifests, then the practitioner of this level is able to attain liberation by applying what he has practiced throughout his life.
下根者，无量大悲化身之往生，获得密宗能成守之灌顶，未被破誓言之过患污染，对生源次第具有圣解，并具有中阴诀窍的人，阻塞不尽的胎门，并依靠大悲心的牵引和转为化身道用而往生。亲近刹图，正如颂云，对关闭胎门亦有境界，乃为精进静观之一时。下根者，这就是化身的这个破瓦法。化身的破瓦法，这里面呢，它的这个就是得过了密乘的灌顶。然后呢，对密乘的灌顶呢，没有破过誓言，也没有被破誓言者污染的人，然后对生源次第真正没有熟练，这里就是说具有圣解，就是学过生源次第，然后呢，对生源次第有圣解的人，这样的人呢，在中阴，然后呢，有得过中阴的窍诀的人，得过中阴窍诀的人呢，这个人就是在中阴的时候可以。阻挡胎门，然后呢，往生清净的刹土，得以化身的果位。这个的话，我们以前在中医的教法里面，我们就讲的就是化身的成就、报身的成就、法身的成就 ，exactly 就是这里面一样，这是一指的。法身的成就者，我们就是比如说是第一光明、第二光明，这个时候就是法身成就者，那个就是我们在这里讲的法身的破瓦法是一样的。然后报身的成就，我们以前说就是在这个法性中阴的时候可以得到报身的果位，跟这里说的报身的破瓦法是一样的。化身的果位就是我们所说的在受身中阴的时候，我们可以阻挡胎门，然后呢到这个清净的刹土，这些都就是相同的。所以呢，就是法报化三身的成就，也就是我们这里讲的法报化三身的这个破瓦法是一样的。
And the next one is lower transference to the Nirmanakaya through immeasurable compassion. People who have received the ripening empowerment of this secret mantra vehicle, who have faultless samaya, who have an inclination for the generation of perfection phases, and who have received instruction on the intermediate stage can, as it is said, interrupt the entry to the womb, remembering to turn back. This is the moment demanding determination and purity of vision. Those practicing this transference must block any undesirable entry to an impure womb, driven by great compassion and applying the practice of assuming rebirth as a Nirmanakaya emanation. They then transfer their consciousness to the place of rebirth in one of the pure lands. So here, this is the referred as the Nirmanakaya Poa practice. Nirmanakaya Poa. So for those who have already, this pertains to those who have already received Vajrayana empowerment during the lifetime and have never broken any samaya or been contaminated by those with broken samaya. And also these type of practitioners have engage in the practice of generation of perfection phase, and with a certain level of familiarity, and also have received instruction regarding the Bardo teaching itself. So thereby they're able to attain liberation through this manner. So in terms of here regarding to the Poa practice, this is really just correspond to the previous Bardo teaching that we have been given regarding such as the attainments of the three kayas, the Dharmakaya, Sabhabakaya, as well as the Manakaya. So here, in terms of the Dharmakaya attainment in the Bardo teaching, this corresponds to the first one, the Dharmakaya Poa, such as the attainment accomplishment through the during the first and second luminosity. The attainment or the accomplishment is the same here in terms of those both teaching, and also the Sabhabakaya Poa is also applied correspond to the Sabhabakaya attainment of the Bardo teaching previously that we mentioned, and as well here the Nirmanakaya Poa is the same as the teaching of Bardo becoming that we have taught before. The instructions are the same. The instruction correspond to these two types of terms. So thereby, the three kayas of accomplishment is apply or correspond perfectly to the three kayas of Poa that we're talking about right here.
第三个是平凡者具三相之往生，将中脉做道用，做道想，心是明点作为旅客想，极乐清净刹图作为去向而往生。这就是上次我们修的这个方法，就是这个。然后以大悲铁钩超度亡灵之往生。具有殊胜正悟，心境调柔，了知中阴身心相续的瑜伽师，可临其他临终者或者中阴身，得以往生所以呢，这就是超度亡灵的这个佛法所以呢，超度亡灵的佛法是具有殊胜的正悟然后呢，知道这个中阴身的亡灵的这个心相续的总之就是可以知道中阴身的这样的众生的人这样的人才是真正要具备这个对亡者做超度的人的话，是要具备这样的条件。这以上就是5种佛法。
And the next one is the ordinary transference using 3 metaphors. People practice this method of transference by imagining the central channel as the route, the bindu of mind consciousness as the traveler, and a period of breakless as the destination. So this is the Poa practice that we have just completed, the Poa retreat that we have just completed earlier. And then the next one is the transference performed for the dead with the hook of compassion. This kind of transference is done either for being on the point of dying or for one already in the intermediate state. It can be performed by a yogi with highly developed realization, mastery over mind and perception, and the ability to recognize the consciousness of a being in the intermediate state. So here, for the 5th one, to be able to engage this kind of transference practice requires a supreme practitioner who has this really well-developed supreme realization, and as well as the ability to basically recognize the consciousness of a Bardo being. So thereby, these are actually essential or critical requirements for a practitioner in order for them to, if they were to liberate or benefit Bardo beings by transferring, by engaging the Poa practice for them.
其从在观经佛的比地马诺拉的修七年农马七的地的那的在地里把这种查达的佛农马上个佛旅游吧，刚农个佛啊，但那样他都切上南宋佛讲的，拉索把个本地的中国那的就把那做就业了，他的但是马英九的是这菜的，那佛啊，干的应该的了，佛的把那把都讲的就把这个东西了。Wong to pa je gu te ta na je pa je ina ba to tu chi chi ni to tra distinct di ra yimba yimbe na ba to rong ni ko ta na na shi to pi jo de fa ni ta yin chi shi cha bin jong 蓬勃的南皮古皮普尔罗班，或只有没送的维那达的拉玛这个，拉索的蒙怎么到吧？他目前生活了国外的吧？那些有些上去身体跟你讲的，然后就去。在外你没那那像这身体跟我们生活来用盘头西切上，然后呢，这个人民间过的大买，别大买一个人个年做地气的劳动咱们西巴了，地理不完地上，生活不大所连把那身体大家大一点这个。然后他也感受马上不能往身体里连同是把这个那种种子的产嘛，他会其实我们的民间的是把它的红豆的单纯去比如说在日常比较是工作上了，那时候空容易破坏大的破大容易没这个把的冲错嘛，不这个这个嘛不这个能力共同在一些的共同参与。我就那就是不仅就是说，真的那在这国外出来现在也是比没那就是跟这马上都把超等级高子就单单也就我们不管弄的，我送出所马西呢，那么这边也得做，我们做成我就没通就单子让稍微的。这边的让中国不动出来，像这边人工个让他提出个把可能在你用破坏大体工作方面这个些吧，但是在把那这把能力，这等的表现成绩的，空气生活大，那我们看起来那双手我们说，慢着这个别的身体的经济工作是跟这个空气，三轮的中间的这个这种大单的。男女特种活动协调判断，把相同只有从那点过了单子，0点那点那么到注意个进步，或者有把男讲生活个人 GPT 对接到我们从这从那的容易的忙着呢。那这种这到一弄要把咱今天可能我们得打把工接触的出面的在 GPT 注意工作呢，你将通过看那你弄的。那你暂时看那你暂时一个路上安全曾经排比工作那把前面的都已经的那方面已经比一个龙的人经历接触就能就马这个里面你引的去公特在你或那民众把特接等他们就对了中国都不要模式。本来超度亡灵者必须是获得见道之事，也就是一地菩萨。如米拉日巴尊者说，未见圣道地之前，切莫超度亡者灵。超度亡灵最适宣于时刻，是外气已中断，内气未中断之际。如果逢于确定性的这般时刻，指的就是前所说的外气断、内气还没有中断的时候，则请稍微熟悉往生诀窍的人做往生仪式，也得很大的利益，并能阻塞恶趣之道。如同刚什么？钢琴啊。哦呀，刚启程上路的刚启程上路的旅客容易被伴游所转一般，否则身心已脱离后，很难以超度是其往生。如此要超度身心已分离者，必须是了知中阴界，自心已获得自在之人。若是这样的瑜伽士，则已脱离肉身的中阴身，以此外缘而容易转移。即使其神识也到了中阴界，若他对做往生法仪式，也能将其引导到清净的刹土中。否则再将神识勾招 这里所说的否则就是没有那样的修行的人，或者也没有菩提心的人的意思。否则再将神识勾召回温身而做超度，实际上无有任何实益。因此，如今大多数徒有美名的上师或活佛等超度亡灵时，如果他们完全出自慈悲菩提心而根本不牵扯私欲，则仅以发菩提心之力更可饶益亡灵，并且也不会成为自己修行的道障。反之为猛求自利，仅仅依靠口诵，会念诵而超度亡灵，并接受死者的往生码，是极其下列的行为。这里所说的往生码，就是在藏地，我们一个人过世的时候呢，就会对我们藏地的就是牛、羊、马里面最昂贵的是马，所以呢，带这家人的最好的一匹马，然后呢，上面会有这个所有的就是器备，就是要骑马的话，要马鞍等等这些全部，然后呢，跟亡者的就是最宝贵的财物这些一起要供养上师来帮这个亡者修破法，所以这里所说的往生马是这个意思，不是一般的马，就是非常好的。总之，他们家里面最昂贵的这匹马，这样是极为下列的行为，如颂云：以为须至解脱之甘地，然却直力引导他人者，此二之理少许不相合，犹如淹水之人救淹者。从前大证悟者丹增丘佩大师去扎日神山，一次他的境界中出现了昔日他所超度并收取往生马的一个人，看到他从血海中露出头，被喊着大师丹增丘佩的名字，我该怎么办呢？大师惊恐万分地说道：“我将转绕神山的功德回向于你。”于是那人便不见了。不仅如此，而且却便是具有殊胜正悟的普陀迦罗高僧大德，若接受亡灵供养后没有念经回向等，也将成为地道之障。从前主经仁波切经历贪就丹增圆寂时，引请真妹央众公布真妹让众公布，真妹让众公布尊者念诵遗体火葬仪式仪轨，结果尊者一整天唯一念诵沐浴仪轨，进行勾召反腐超度，前时如同对一个普通人做超度一样。诸僧人问：为什么这样做呢？尊者解释说，他以前接受了超度亡者的黑马供养，但当时却未对死者诵经念仪轨做回向。这亡者是一个罪业深重的人，因此对他的地道成就稍有障碍。但现在通过我们二者并协助利益将亡灵超度了。据说亡者是果洛丹增，因此那些身具上师大活佛之位的人也是同样，要接受亡财之时，若既不发心，也不做回向发愿，念仪轨等，而认为我是如何了不起的上师大活佛，则无有任何实益，其实是被无误认定了那些高僧的前辈转世的活佛们，最初也得从藏文的母音字母开始学习，即包括文字读诵以上，必须与普通人无有差别的学习。所以说，忘记了前世所精通的文字， 读诵，而未遗忘生源瑜伽的人肯定没有。因此，我认为那些小活佛不应该仅能起码就开始受用信财、王财，而首先学习发心、直立闭关修行极为重要。我也这一段比较长，那个英文的话，我想不念也可以了。在这里简单的解释一下啊，这里主要就是讲这个往生的第5个往生的这个法。第5个往生的法就是我们所说的对亡者修这个破瓦法，上次好像有问到过。对呢，对于亡者修这个破瓦法的话呢，就是具有最有就是帮助的，或是最有效果的话，就是登地菩萨这样的大成就者。登地菩萨这样的大成就者的话，那就这个亡者不管是就是往生了1天或者10天或者1个月或者1年2年或者几十年甚至是几十年，如果从来没有超度过的话，请这些高僧大德们做超度的话，是一定没有帮助的这些都是可以有帮助的。但是呢，没有这样的就是成就者如果是只是有一个大名，然后呢就只是随便就是帮亡灵这样超度，然后收集信财的话，这是绝对会对自己跟亡者都是没有什么任何的利益的。但是呢，这里讲了2个要点，就是第一个，如果是时间就刚好是外气断了，内气还没有断的那个时间，那个时刻给亡者做这个破瓦法的话，这是极为重要的，这是非常有帮助的。还有一个呢，就是就算是没有达到一地菩萨，那这个人是完全无私心的，然后具有菩提心的，然后呢这样去跟这个亡者修破瓦法的话，这2者都是有帮助的。除此之外，第一个也没有菩提心，第二个呢，然后呢就也没有在那个重要的时刻修这个破瓦法的话呢，可能就会比较难。这里讲了2个公案，2个都是高僧大德他们在藏地的非常有名的高僧大德，他们修破瓦法都有出过这样的问题。比如说有一个罪业很深重的国落的一个人，然后那个主签仁波切好像没有就是注意到他的超度这些一切，所以他圆寂的时候用这个罪业深重，就是对他的地道做了障碍，所以等等这样的所以呢，这里主要就是讲这些部分。
So this is a little bit longer text, so we'll just focus on the key points and we'll be omitting the presentations in English. So here this part that is briefly described, here is referring to the practice poor practice performed for the dead to practice poor for those who have already passed away or were in the process of dying or for those who have died. So in order to have the most benefit out of this, for this type of practice is for this to be performed by an accomplished practitioner who already attained the buddhi of the path of seeing or the bodhisattva buddhi level. So thereby it will be very beneficial to be practiced for these great accomplished practitioners to practice for those beings, even if those sentient beings have passed away for maybe a couple years, several years, or even many years. If they have never had received any type of practice, then yeah, it will be definitely beneficial for them if were to perform by these great practitioners who have already achieved the great attainments. However, if it was to be practiced without any attainment, or for people without any type of level of practice, and then just simply practice, then we just receive offerings, considered as completely useless. But here is given, but then here it has pointed out that there's 2 other scenario situation where that if during the time the disease, the person who's dying, the outer breath has ceased, however the inner breath remains, at that time, if able to engage in the practice Poa even by a person or who have not attained such accomplishment, it's very beneficial, provided that the person was engaging in practice in a genuine heart with a genuine bodhicitta. Then that will be beneficial. Otherwise, it will be really considered not beneficial at all if the practice will be performed by someone without such level of attainment. And also here giving the example, also giving some example on even as great masters before in Tibet, that even when they have encountered some kind of situation regarding the Poa practice for deceased being, such as there was this great master from the Dzogchen monastery that the master before he had passed away had received offering but have somehow omitted practicing for the Poa for this other really person who passed away, but the person really had really negative karma, so thereby it has caused some obstacle for this master doing as his path of attainment, but yet they were able to resolve it in the end.
然后第三个这里说是具三相的往生法，就是上次我们已经修过了。具三相的往生法呢，主要就是我们依靠自己的修炼，然后呢，我们把自己观想成家母，然后呢，心间就是把自己的意识观想红色的十字，然后呢，头顶观想阿弥陀佛，然后呢，自己来实修来修炼。修炼到最后呢，将我们的意识从自己的这个泛血，也就是从顶门出去，然后呢，这样练习到最后呢，我们在往生的时刻到的时候，就可以自己往生，这个就是我们所说的具三相的这个往生法。那这个往生法的细节的话，我们上次已经讲了一遍，所以今天我就在藏文上把那个传承演给大家一下，那其他的详细就不用讲了。
And here is this, the next one is ordinary transference using three metaphors. This is the Poa retreat that we have just completed, such as here, we visualize ourselves as Vajra Yogini, and we visualize our consciousness in this heart center of ourselves as red, free syllable, and then on top of our head, we visualize Buddha Amitabha, and we will engage in a practice until we such that by visualizing our consciousness leaving from the crown of our head, so thereby when we are truly reach this point of dying, we're able to utilize this practice and then able to transfer our own consciousness to take liberation. So in terms regarding detail, I've already given you teaching in previous retreat. So here I will not go in more further detail, but here I will give you the oral transmission of the Tibetan text itself.
对了，大家几个是家居破案的呢？他们的学生的就破案，那是那里破案就说在这边上的嘞。大概我几公这一破是把当阳他们的大概破案的多半说的那几个个那么古听着起来，吃完就说那多边开上的这个是几当这样吃完就说那就上上给完因是把当前的大家的这个经济。然后把那们吃完的能用当你经历这个的主要他们里面来写作的，那老公把那们大家把这经济完都娘甚至可是都不一样的，这个的那么生活，我们那不会是从把的那他妈妈特别听到，刚上都过去了，从把那都不把因的他们妈妈的。但那这种的都不去印证啊，送个结果抗议了，参与别的说法，另外说法他们买这种的多，那就他们的东查那送个经历是多么多，你把印的多么多帮你把印的这里，人生战略说法，参与那有些法，对，那去做人就是这个部分就是把不干给。当时是一起上边不是的，都不把门就的，都不把门就的，到边上的人就是当这样这个的，那是这个有的咱当中，他们现在就那里这种的，在大概的那么不是那上面那不是就 도르지 송디나나 자모 포였다가 되는 마고 버선지 비추 두포지 자타서 주의서마 아상나 민데 성지 도진 정가자데 좀 니진 자저서 봐 참는 거 보셔 봐요 나라도 좀 자저다 조진들한 태소지 공지는 고지자 공지 성지 끝나요 마고 추는 알아야지 동 반치 나로 비 고르금 고리고 공문제 고공제 보셔 저대 정보 고르금 자리 보셔 다리 라마 템버 좀지 동또 정말 바로 제자리 니 다티 디슨 포와 정정성 영영정他们清两个面那必须比没有当时有几就在这把逻辑这破参数简单了子那的玩都准备蛮咱看见咱的东但比没有的咱们说是我们这边没有的去进是的反正嘛我只有从的大部分了对了通过说用啊当地是个你通过说让大家能就会这些的用这样用上当中马上就把咱们的这样大家能一起理解的啥东西恰恰是蛮用上在里呢포와라 그냥 무슨 포와 좀 가장 지키기나 바바 신들게 포기나 포와 포타바 인디 왜냐면 성도 그리고 소야 카타로라 달라 바비티나 신들 그 가라나 똑같은 동안이 제군다 잠지 그렇죠 동물이 동화 동다를 저러고서 되는 딩일리라 자바는 랑일라 치티 쇼이티 지정 머토파 시정 타르라 소파 종이체 샤구지 디라 잔트 머롱테 지데 딜라바나 포샤티 티는 타는 소파제지 손텔라 시 타르나 몬드 요정 고디오 주시나 온포나 정말시 nomche tosun 타르나 요바라 동본은 그 민고를 세속다고 요나는 대답은 돈바 성유다라는 년나 그들을 참는 측은도 투지 매자나 나비 시바가 받인 데스터 만정 잔지 마주지 담라 소파라 영영 좀 답하자미 나마다 잔지 투정 좀도 바이나는 대전 그 술라티 좀네 대비좀 롱에 가지고 그런 지금은 지금은 통무체 루크에 시바가 와인팀 선생님이 주도지 요거 동리되어서 나서 보면 주의치 용은지의 타그름 심마인데 더디 모두가 다 고정 호환된 거는 데피티만 바인베티나 샤이 감사라 담바나 리통도 당하다로 로나 바타비스는 차르디 따다면 체카나 가리 나 디알라 텐제르와다니 힌도 토르 추라소 송제와데 인디는 첫 감칠라 담바타비치도 디니 첫 감칠라 텐디 카치도 나ችን 소란 자바 데니 프로젝트 카메라 탐디 카다 탐치 감바 디지털 탄데디 카치 카치라는 슈오를 넘바 슈르르 온바데 디인세 우지 카멜롱나 탐비체 우지 카멜롱나 탐비체 젠지 트르세비님 차치질롱 탐치를 종선질롱라 디니 우노드 버드카자 우지 우니 우치오네 오로와네 lamma bakarna karna jiti usila tsopati no seteni lichi chotamchin stroster didi shon wis chapatu pasun rupan japi rurum bosum shir lam penezon shu ko chapra chade disu shu ni pari to tuli karcha tade jikte ne shetos na kha aya tapalana ardao popasta karlam cher no tos si baksanyam tong dan sonje tong 선주 소송가티 스노와라 제바이 노테니 스테바니 말리 토기라타 나차친데 지위시 토스나카 타발라니 우포바타고 말런 체르노 토스시바 디님치 도초치 토바르치 가팀치 파라 제로 디네 카만 뉴이스 샤피 바타 나신체 네시 토스 나카야 타파 야 타파 토스 차바타 나온 당나스 시바가 토피님 차트 그 토파든 거전 테니 나튼 지제로 데제르토 테니토 제라인 테니 종전 자사만이 나카 공세지 진선다 따라 스타가 지티지 오스타 차바티 로시나 냐브르자나 Arab Chustu Puajishwati, Indi, Vato, Mipransanja, Tene Rimpe, Chunit, Tubi Vato, Lasovacha, Indi, Rumuzi Chala, Impi, the Mato, Tene, Lama, Omti Choma, Poa Lila, Jariti Manava, Nam Charigo, Zabiti, Indi, this Tindi River, Raji, Dari, Chiland, Lamin Dama, in a vision of the Hontin Dam, in being Arega, Yam the Simji Watch, the point of us, Rukalaka, Sarkazam, Sandy Lipi to Yudan, Sandy Jew country, Kader, Snarojan, Staralam, Zamo, Poyadamba, La Tini, Santos of Portugal, Tedrujan, Lama, Jory, Gugasi now, in that young justice, Paul of Tapa, Move, Birubas. 哦呀，那今天因为我们要把这个前心讲完，所以呢，我中文的部分也就不念了，我就直接把这个意义跟大家讲一下啊。好了，其实我们现在主要就是我们要怎么样应用这个破瓦的这个修法的这个部分，我在这里跟大家讲一下。中英文的部分我们就不念，就把意思讲给大家一下就可以。中英文的部分呢，你们可以在文字上自己可以读一读就可以。
So here today, since we have to finish the preliminary teaching itself today, I will omit the recitation of the Chinese text. Then, because here now is really this part of the teaching is really emphasized on how to utilize the core practice correctly. So I will be pointing out the key points of the teaching. So thereby we won't be reading the English as well as the Chinese version of the text. You can read them when you have the opportunity to do so on the text itself.
首先呢，我们要知道，就是佛法的这个加持和佛法的功德是不可思议的，我们要有这个绝对的信心。比如说我们就是上个礼拜我们修这个破瓦法的时候，本来是破瓦法是应该要修7天的，那我们这边的话就是各方面的条件、时间各方面没有办法允许让我们连续修7天，但是呢，我们很精进的，就是大家修了3天，也就是每一个人都具备了9座修了9座，然后在这个过程当中呢，所有几乎就是参加的所有的人都有一些瑞相，当然我在查吉祥草的时候，我看到所有人的头顶大家都有一些瑞相，所以这个是非常好的一个瑞相，我非常的满意，在3天之内大家都修得很不错，然后不管是有查吉祥草也好，没有查吉祥草也好，大家都有瑞相，当然这个瑞相有差别。有些的修得非常的还不错，就是蛮软的，里面讲很软的，像比如说草插进去，就好像一下子就是插得很深入这样，有些的呢就是没有那么软，但是不管怎么样，总的来说都非常好，所以呢，这个是我们要知道，就是这个佛法的加持也是不可思议的，
So here we need to really have understanding or have this really firm conviction that the blessing of the Buddha Dharma is truly inconceivable. We must possess this type of unshaken confidence or unshaken faith. Here in the last week, we have engaged in the retreat of the practice of Poa. And usually the retreat or the practice will be done in 7 days. However, due to everybody's schedule here with our daily life, we have engaged in a practice for 3 days or diligently or in terms of 9 sessions. So here, and by then, by the end of the practice, everybody's able to develop, almost everybody is able to develop a certain level of signs of accomplishment of this practice. Of course, when I was able to stake the puja grass among people's crown, I was able to see these signs that have developed on everyone's ground. So everyone, whether be able to, if you're able to put place or stick the crucial grass in there or the ground or not, regardless, there's still signs that have appeared among all the practitioners, all the participants. Of course, there are actually different levels of signs, such as the softness of the crown or the crown of the head. Some people's crowns are very soft. They're able to, when I place the kusha grass, I was able to place the very inward fashion, and it's able to go very deep, not very pretty deep. So thereby, overall, I am very satisfied with the outcome of this retreat. And then also we need to really truly understand or have realized how immense, inconceivable the blessing of the Buddha Dharma is.
比如说我们就是三宝的加持，我们几年前在加州这边不是很干旱几年的干旱完全没有水，然后就是到我们连这个前面的院子里面都不能洒水，洒水就会这个罚款到了那样的地步的时候，我们这边的很多道友们共同一起到处去放这个龙王坛城，然后就修法降雨修这个降雨的法，后来就开始下雨，那个冬天好像就是后来下到很多地方都是淹水这样，所以这些都是三宝的加持，是不可思议的。我们只要有信心我们祈祷三宝的话，加持不可思议，所以我们就解决了所有加州的干旱。去年18年的时候，加州的那个火灾，大家都知道的，非常非常的严重，到处都烧。然后后来我就想，要怎么样再解决这些火灾？唯一就是下一个大雨才可以把这个火全部扑灭掉。那我们中心就是马上就积极，然后开始修这个降雨的法会。我们这边整整的修了2天或者2天修了2天之后，然后呢就是开始下雨，到现在加州的雨量也是不停的一直下，整个火也是扑灭。这些就是三宝的加持。我们可能不会知道，可能下雨的时候会下的，或这样那样，也许这样下，不是的，这是真正的三宝的加持，是不可思议的。同样的，这次我们修这个破瓦法的时候也是。你看我们的头顶全部都是骨头，这个怎么可以插进去那么多草呢？所以这个就是我们虽然有时候观想的清楚，有时候观想的不清楚，但是呢，就我们念诵的这些仪轨，然后我们祈祷这个诸佛菩萨的加持力然后呢自己的信心，然后精进全部总结加起来，然后最后大家都有一些成就所以这些都是三宝的加持力。所以呢，我们一定要有这种强烈的信心和坚定不移的这个信心来进行修行。
So, for example, because with the blessing of three jewels, truly inconceivable. For example, several years ago, there was a drought in California. It was so severe to the point that if you try to water the front of your yards with water, then you would be fine. It was really at a really critical level. So thereby, many of the Dharma friends here among us were engaged in several practices, such as placing the Naga mandala among several locations within the Bay Area, and also practice engage in practice for ring ceremony. And it was so successful to the point that it was really it resolved the problem itself, but then there's also several floods of rain that occurred during that time. So this is truly an immense blessing of the three jewels, and that we're able to resolve the drought problem. And also during the previous fire crisis within California, I really thought about how is it that we can resolve this crisis, this issue. And I think that the only way is to have a major rain that we can put out the fire. So thereby at that time we immediately gathered all the sanghas members and we became the practice for the raining practice. And we practiced for 2 days, and afterward it actually began to rain, and then even until now the rain continued to occur. So these are truly referred as the blessing of the three jewels. There may be questions that the rain may be due to other reasons, etc., etc. But truly, this is considered as the blessing of the three jewels. Regarding the power practice or regarding the retreat, we can see that usually the crown of our head is something that's a really hard and stiff surface. To be able to place the Kusha breath into the deep of the crown is considered as really like a blessing of the three jewels. So even though during the time of the practice or the retreat, sometimes we cannot visualize clearly. However, due to our diligence, and also the blessing of the three jewels, almost everyone was able to develop certain sign of accomplishments. So thereby, this is something that really encourages us and motivates us to continue to have this strong faith and determination to continue to be able to practice in our path.
所以呢，我为什么要讲这些呢？就是我们要知道，作为我们一个佛教徒，我们皈依佛教的、皈依三宝的一个弟子来说的话，我们任何时候遇到任何的困难的时候，我们有依靠，我们有依处，我们要祈祷的对象，我们要想起来这个东西，不要另外再找一个东西，或者找一个求救，我们不需要，我们就祈祷三宝。你如果是有这个念头常常在你的心间的时候的话，当我们面临任何的痛苦，或者在中阴的时候，或者临死的时候，我们会想到的就是三宝，不会是别的东西，这是非常重要的。
So here, the reason I'm saying this is because as a Buddhist practitioner, we have taken refuge on the three jewels. So really, we need to take that in mind that anytime anyone encounter any obstacles, any type of problem, anything, we need to remind ourselves that we have this true source of reliance. We have this true support to resolve problems. We don't need to look other else for some solution. We simply really need to just pray to the three jewels. If you're constantly able to have this able to remind yourself of this, whether in a different situation of obstacles, problems, or even when you're about to die and you're in the vital state, then it will be able to really benefit you during these type of scenarios, these situations. So this is actually something very, very important.
然后我们在这个修这个破瓦法，那以后怎么样应用这个破瓦法呢？这个就是我们人要死亡之前呢，它有一个叫做隐魔次第，还是五根隐魔次第。什么叫做五根隐魔次第呢？因为我们的这个身体我们这个身体是以四大组成的，地水火风组成的。然后这个四大组成的时候呢，我们当死亡的时候，这些它回归自然它会回归到四大里面去。然后呢，我们有五根，就是眼耳鼻舌身就是五根的这些也是会慢慢的就是这个消失，慢慢的消失除了我们的眼耳鼻舌身消失之外呢，我们所说的我们心里平时有的贪嗔痴贪嗔痴也会消失，然后最后会到什么样的一个境界呢？最后是到一个什么都没有的一个境界就简单的说就是什么都没有的一个境界所以呢，这个叫做隐魔次第的过程。所以在这样的过程当中呢，我们什么时候要修这个破瓦法呢？就是我们的五根的隐魔次第开始的时候，我们就要开始修这个破瓦法。因为五根隐魔次第的开始，就是已经一步一步的你要走进死亡的开始了。所以这个时候呢，你还有力气可以修这个破瓦法。所以在这个时候呢，我们就应该要应用我们上个周修的这个练习的这个破瓦法。
是五根，然后四大。
四大是指我说的我们的身体的组成的部分。对，首先是五根，对。
And so regarding the core practice, what we have learned, so really how or when do we able to utilize this practice? So here, regarding this, when a person is about to die, they're actually referring that to the signs of dissolution. So here, here is or referring that to the dissolution of the 5 senses. Our body is consisted of 4 elements, and when they die, they dissipate. These elements dissipate back to the nature. So, so here we're referring to as the process of dying. The first that occurred is the dissolution of the 5 senses, or what we refer to as our sensory perceptions, such as our eyes, our ears, our nose, our tongues, and our bodies. So, at the time when they and then it will continue during the process of dying, these senses and these elements will continue to dissolve to the state where there's nothing else. So here, when we regarding pertains to the Poa practice itself, the timing practice of Poa is during the dissolution of our 5 senses or five sensory perceptions, our eyes, ears, nose, etc. So this is the time that when we have we're about to experience death, but then you still have the energy to practice. That is the timing. So thereby, that is the time that we need to utilize this Poa practice for to attain liberation.
那隐目次第是怎么样开始呢？我们首先我们说耳根，我们是听声音的。那我们平时听声音就是很清楚，就是平时你的状况是怎么样。但是呢，当这个隐目次第开始的时候呢，你的听声音的部分就会比如说词句听不清楚啦，或是只听到一个嗡嗡的声音啦，或是听到就算别人在你旁边讲话，你都好像听到在很远的地方传来的声音一样，就是这样的感受的时候呢，这个就是耳根的隐目次第开始了。这样慢慢你的耳根就快不行了。然后一样的就是眼根，我们看东西的时候，平时你看得清楚，但是呢，在那个时候就是看到就是很近的东西，你都看得还是模糊的就是看不清楚的时候然后呢，眼耳鼻就是我们的就是这个闻的香味臭味这些也是平时我们可以有差别分开得来。但是那个时候的话，你都好像没有任何的这个臭和香的这样的分别的这种感受量然后呢，就是眼耳鼻舌头的话，我们就是吃东西的时候，我们有酸的、苦的、甜的等等，我们都可以品味嘛。但是如果这个品不出来的时候然后身体的话，触觉就是触觉的感受也是没有的时候呢。这些就是你们隐目次第，但这些是一个一个的来的，一个一个的开始。这样，首先是我们从这个耳根开始，然后呢就是这个我们这个前行里面你们看就知道了，里面有耳，然后呢就是眼根、耳根、眼根，然后就是舌、鼻、舌、身，对，这样。所以这些就一个一个的会慢慢，它不会一下子就全部就出现，然后就马上，它是慢慢，它有过程。所以当这些过程出现的时候，你就要知道现在是死亡的一个征兆。所以呢，你就如果是旁边有人，这样的话，你就可以叫他们让你坐起来，靠个就是后面放一个靠背之类的。然后呢，如果是你有法本呢，这样的话，你请把法本交给你或者是就是自己就开始念诵。如果自己没有办法念诵的话，请旁边的人可以帮你念诵，然后你就观想自己做就可以这些都可以的。最主要就是我们所学的破法，就是这样的时候应用。应用的过程当中呢，就是一直修炼就可以了。上次我们在修炼的时候，我们是念长寿佛，然后阿弥陀佛融入自己。那在这个时候的话，就是不用。你就一直练，一直不断的练，直到你没有力气练了没有力气练的时候呢，那之后怎么做呢？之后你的意识就一直专注在头顶的阿弥陀佛的心间，意识就一直停留在阿弥陀佛的心间，这样就可以了。如果是能这样的当下能够断气的话，那是最好的。
here, how does the dissolution of the five senses begin? It first begins by the hearing, by your ear, or by the hearing perception. So normally when we hear things, we can hear things very clearly. However, during the time to process dissolution, you begin to hear unclearly. The sound begins like a humming sound, or sometimes when somebody is really talking to you and really just talking next to you, but the sound is sounding like it's from far away. So this is indicating that your hearing sense, the sense of hearing is deteriorating as this state of dissolution, and also your vision or your eyes. Sometimes something that's really close to you, but it's still really blurry and you cannot see clearly. That's the kind of the dissolution of your eyes or your vision. And also our tongue, normally our tongue we're able to our taste, such as we can taste different, such as sour, sweet, bitter, etc. But when you can no longer taste anything, that's also considered as a deterioration of the tongue as well. And also the body sensory, when your body loses sense of touch, the experience of touch, that's also regarded as the dissolution. But then this whole process, it really comes one by one. Here teaching says first comes the ear, and then the eyes, the nose, then the tongue, and then the body. They wouldn't appear all at once. It comes one by one fashion. So thereby, as these signs appear, you really need to recognize these signs as the dissolution of the five senses. And then really at that time, help if you can sit up, if not ask somebody to help you sit up. And then you have your sadhana next to you, you can practice. You can recite yourself, or you have somebody to recite for you, and you just focus on the practice itself. And as you can, in terms of your practice, you just keep on practice what you have learned in terms of the process. So just keep on practice, keep on repeating the process itself, of the practice itself. Previously, we have engaged in the practice of Amitabha, etc., but at that time, we just focus on the main practice itself, or the main visualization process itself. You just keep on practicing until you can no longer do so. And you were able to, and it just really remain, allow your consciousness to remain in the heart center of Amitabha. If you're able to really continue to remain in that at that point until you pass away, that is considered the best outcome of this practice.
那这个的话是，比如说我们是慢慢的死亡的过程当中的话是可以做到，但是呢，如果是比如说是瞬间的死亡，我根本没有空这样没有办法这样一步一步的去观想的时候，该怎么样呢？就是马上把意识专注在头顶上，意识这个是我们可以做到的，马上把自己的注意力放在头顶上。就其他观想也没有，什么都没有办法来不及做了，那就直接把意识或者注意力就放在头顶上就是这个是非常重要的这个就是刹那瞬间没有办法的话就是这样做。
And so this is for the scenario or situation where you're able to gradually pass away. However, if we're about to really pass away in an really fast manner or instant manner, and when we don't have time for these visualizations, then what we need to do is we need to focus immediately on our place our consciousness on the top of our head, or shift our focus on the crown of our head. This is applied when there's no time for any visualization. We really need to at that time to right away to place our focus on the top of our head, the crown of our head, and this is something that's very important, and it's regarding as the instant transference of consciousness.
然后这个之后就是五根引摩次第完了之后呢，我们之后呢就会这个我们所说的四大会消融。四大消融是什么呢？我们的肉界，我们身体的肉界它消融于地大里面去就是四大里面地水火风的地大里面去然后呢我们的水就是我们的这个血液血界它呢就会融入到水大里面去然后呢我们的这个卵界就是温暖的卵界 它会消融于火界里面去，火大里面去。然后呢，我们的就是气界，就是我们所说的呼吸的这种气界，它会消融于就是风大所以呢，就是我们身体里面的肉、血液然后呢就是温度然后呢我们的气，这些全部就会回到地水火风里面去，就这样消融。
And after the dissolution of the five senses, then the dissolution of the four elements began. At first, our flesh will dissolve into earth, our blood will dissolve into water, and the warmth of our body will dissolve into fire, and our breath will dissolve into wind. So here, our flesh, our blood, our warmth and breath will dissolve into the four elements of earth, water, fire, and wind.
然后这些的会有什么样的这个景象呢？比如说我们的这个肉界融入地大的时候呢，就是感觉身体会沉重，然后呢就会王者会说把我的枕头垫高一点呢，或者我下降等等的，会有这样的感受。然后呢这个我们的血界融入这个水大的时候呢，这个人他就是王者的就是鼻子然后就口都会流出就是鼻涕就口水这样会就自己没有办法控制的，这样会流出来这样。然后呢，当这个我们所说的这个卵界融入火大的时候，这个时候就整个口鼻都会变得很干燥，突然就没有任何的水分了，这样都会变得很干燥这样。然后呢，最后就是我们所说的气界融入风大的时候，这个时候呢，我们所说的有一个上行气、下泄气、平住气、这些呢，然后就是变形气变形气，这些全部都最后呢，就是会收于持命风，这些持命风里面去。上行气就是我们从口跟鼻里面的常常用呼吸运用的，这叫做上行气。然后下泄气就是我们需要就是大小便的时候运用的这个气，叫做下行气。平住气的话，就是在我们身体里面的平衡的就是在心间平衡的这些气，叫做平住气。然后变形气的话，整个我们这个血脉里面，因为有这个风，没有这个风，我们血脉是没有办法流动的。所以，因为我们心里面需要这个风来帮助我们的整个身体里面的这些血脉来流动，这个就是变形气、变形风。所以呢，当这些风这个气界融入这个风大的时候呢，这些全部的这个气就会收集到我们的这个持命风里面去。还有一个风，我们所说的上行风、下行风，气跟风都是一个意思最后会融入到这个持命风里面去。持命风这个就是我们所说的人死的时候最后一口气，这个气断了，他人就死亡了。所以这个就是，所以呢，其他的气全部都集结在那个里面了。在那个里面以后，最后人死的时候，他吐出了这3口气以后就再没有了。所以这叫做持命气。这样的话，就是整个人体里面的气已经就消融到就是风界里面的这样。
就是
风大、上行气、下泄气、平住气，然后就变形气，然后就是持脉、持命，
就是最后一个。
对，最后一个是持命气。
So, what kind of signs will they appear in terms of dissolution of four elements? When the flesh has dissolved into the earth element, our body will feel heavy. The dying person may have to place a pillow higher, or they may feel the sense of sinking down. And when the blood dissolves into the water element, the nose and the mouth will leak, such as these liquid, these snot or saliva, without able to control themselves. When our warmth dissolves into the fire element, the mouth and the nose will be very dry. And also the signs of the last breath dissolved in the wind element. This occurs such as with our human body, we have the breath, the upper wind, the lower wind, the balancing wind, and also as well as the changing wind. The changing wind. So all these will dissolve into the last, the wind element of the life force. And regarding these terms, the upper wind referring to our respiratory, how we breathe in and out. The lower wind is that when we utilize it when we need to urinate or to defecate. The balancing wind is for our body to remain in balance. And then the changing wind is referring to the circulation of our bloodstream as well as other type of liquids, as well as other type of circulating liquids, etc. So from our breath dissolve into the wind element, all these upper, lower, balancing wind, all these will dissolve into what we refer to the wind of life, the life force wind. So this is referred as the last breath of the human being. After this last breath ceases, then the person dies. So thereby, when the person have breathed out the last 3 breaths, then that's during that process. This is where the breath dissolves into the wind element.
然后呢，我们的体内的血液全部会这个收集在这个中脉里面，然后呢，心间会流出3滴血。为什么我们说人死了以后就没有血呢？我们人活着的时候哪里割伤都会流出血来，但人死了以后你割了不会有流血，就是为什么呢？就是这样，因为这个血液全部都融入在中脉里面，然后最后在心里面会滴3滴血，这个就是最后的人的血液了。这个3滴血流出来以后呢，然后就这个亡者的口里面会吐出3口气，这就是最后的气。从此以后呢，就是我们所说的外气。我们向外的这个气已经完全中断。
So, and then also at that time, all the blood in our circulatory system, they will all gather in the central channel, and then will secrete out three more drops of blood. This is when we were saying when we are alive, whenever we get hurt. We get injured, when the blood oozes out. But when we die, as a corpse, there is no blood. So thereby, all the blood that will gather in the central channel, and then there will be secrete out 3 more drops of blood. That is the last 3 drops of blood. And then at that time, the dying person will breathe out last 3 breaths, and then the person will pass away. This is referring as the dying of the ceasing of the outer breath.
然后在这个时候呢，我们就从头顶上从头顶会下降一个白菩提，来自于父亲的我们人要出生之前，我们是来自于父亲的白菩提以及母亲的红菩提2个就是汇合之后，然后再形成了我们的这个身体。然后最后呢也是这样的，最后就是我们来自于父亲的白菩提从头顶下降，然后到心间头顶下降到心间的时候呢，我们的就是感觉上就会出现一片的白光就是全部都是白光，这样一片白光，然后清净的白光，然后会感觉到这样。然后在这个同时呢，我们平时我们有的嗔恨心呢这个有嗔恨心分出来的话，它有33种嗔恨心的分别念所以呢，就是这个时候有33种的嗔恨心的这些分别念就完全会灭尽，就没有了，我们的嗔心完全断掉，33种嗔恨心全部断掉了。然后呢，就这个在内在的感受呢，就会感觉到很明很清明清晰，很明。所以这个我们所说的明增德相里面的这个第一个就是明相这样。然后第二个呢，从我们的肚脐有一个红色的菩提红明点就上升，然后红明点上升的时候呢，就外在的现象我们就会看见一片的红光，感觉到全部是红光这样然后呢，在这个时候呢红光出现的时候呢内向产生大乐，就是感觉到很快乐的感觉，内向就感觉到非常快乐的感觉 好，在这个时候呢，我们所有的分别念里面的烦恼里面的就是40种那个贪心的分别念有40种，所以这个时候呢，我们40种的贪心的分别念全部会灭尽，这个叫做明增相就是明增德相里面的这个就是增相的。
And then after that, the process continues where at the crown of our head, the white Bodhi, or this said, the white Bodhi came from our father. Before we take birth, we take birth as from the union of the white Bodhi of our father and the red Bodhi of our mother. This is how humans take birth. So likewise, when we are dying, the white Bodhi that we receive from our father will descend from the crown of our head, and then as they descend, in the external experience, we'll experience complete white light. At the same time, our thoughts of anger or pleasure, mental affliction of anger, which consists of 33 types, they will all dissipate at that time, and then you will feel like an experience of clarity. This is what we refer as the first of the 3 signs, the signs of clarity. And then at the navel of our body, the red Bodhi, ascent, so it comes up from the navel part of our body, and then you experience as a complete red light in terms of external experience, and then your inner experience you feel a sense of great bliss, and then this is also at the time that our mental affliction of desire, which consists of 40 types, they will all dissipate. This is regarded as the sign of increase, the second sign of the 3 signs.
然后呢，白色的菩提跟红色的菩提在心间汇合的时候，我们的意识会就夹在这个中间了。那这个时候呢，就突然会感觉到一片就是黑光了，就是外在的世界全部变成一个黑光这样。然后内在的话就完全没有分别念，就无概念，就是没有任何的念头的一个状态。然后呢，这个人就昏厥过去了，这个就昏迷过去，昏厥的就是这样。
And then thereby, when the white Bodhi and then the red Bodhi, when they converge in the heart center of our body, our consciousness will be in between that. And then what you experience in external worlds, and the world can become completely black. And then in terms of your inner experience, there will be no differentiating thoughts at all. And then at that point, that person will just faint or pass out.
然后昏厥过去以后就过一段时间，通常是吃1顿饭的时间通常是吃1顿饭的时间，可能就是半到1个小时左右。然后呢，这个人就从这个昏厥里面会苏醒过来。苏醒过来的时候呢，他就是一片非常清净，我们所说的激光明所以这个时候呢，就会显现这个光明，激光明就会出现。这个激光明就是以前我们去年或者前年慈城路康波来的时候，给我们做了一个那个图，那个图里面不是就是有一点点的激光明会出现，就是在这个时候。所以这个时候的这个激光明是跟佛的境界是完全一样的境界，所以能够认知就会成佛的原因就是这个。所以那个当下你能够认知这个光明的话，你就成佛，因为那个境界是跟佛的境界是完全一样的。因为在那个时候连阿赖耶识都全部断掉了，然后我们所说的就是说33种这个嗔心的分别念，40种这个贪心的分别念。我刚刚没有说那个贪嗔痴痴的分别念是在这个第3个的时候全部断掉，所以一共是这个3种分别念全部都断掉所以呢这个时候是非常清净的。
And then after the person faint or pass out, maybe about during the meal's time, about half an hour to an hour, the person will be awakened, and then experience will refer to as the ground luminosity, a complete purity. This is when Kenshin Tsurumoto last time when he came to this teaching, there was a graph, and you can see that if you remember, there's a part where there's describing the ground luminosity. the ground luminosity is just the level of ground luminosity is the same as the level of the Buddha. So therefore, if you're able to recognize this ground luminosity, you will then able to attain the complete enlightenment of Buddhahood. Because at that time, even the light consciousness itself has ceased. Also, we refer to differentiating the 3 types of thought, as is anger, desire, and ignorance. The 33 types of anger, the 40 types of desires, and then earlier I forgot the referring as the ignorance. The differentiating thoughts of ignorance have also ceased. So all these differentiating thoughts have dissipated. So at that time, at that level, during that time, during that state, there's a sense of complete purity.
我想这个叫做我们所说的明增德相里面第3个就是德相。
So this is referred to as the sign of attainment, as the 3rd sign, the 3 signs we just talked about.
我想那个时候呢，我们所说的无贪嗔痴，就是无明的7种分别念完全断掉，所以说无明的7种分别念，然后就是33种这个贪心嗔心的分别念，然后就是40种嗔心，一共80种分别念全部断绝。
And this is referring to at that time the 7 types of ignorance have dissipated as well. So in terms of the 3 mental afflictions, the anger, desire, and ignorance, they have all completely dissipated. The 7 ignorance, the 7 types of ignorance, the 33 types of anger, and 40 types of desire. So thereby these 80 differentiating thoughts or different mental afflictions have completely dissipated.
我想这个之后，如果是认知光明就成佛了，没有认知光明的话，后来接下来就是法性中阴、受心中阴，陆陆续续就会出现。这些出现的时候的话，如果是修行在这个中阴的修行好的人，也许就在法性中阴就成就了、成佛了，有些可能会得到受身中阴。但是不是没有修行的人的话，普通就是法性中阴过去到受身中阴，受身中阴的时候就根据业力就牵引，如果是做恶业的人，他就在受身中阴之后就是到恶道去了，或是人或者6道的某一道去了。如果是做善业的人的话，可能就是因为业的牵引，可能到就是说人天福报投身到人界、人道或者天道这样，到最后的在这个受身中阴的时候，就各自的因为业的牵引他就是分别投身到就是各个这个道。
So thereby, you'll be able to recognize the ground luminosity, then you're able to attain Buddhahood. If not, then you will be experiencing different levels of different states of the bodies, such as the body reality and as well as subsequent body becoming, etc. So for those who are actually practitioners, who knows who have learned the teaching of the Bardo, or those who are practitioners, they may be able to attain liberation during the body reality or during the body becoming. However, for those beings who have not able to engage in the practice, then they're really depending on their karma. They will take on the corresponding rebirth in different realms. So, for example, if they have negative karma, then they will take rebirth in the lower realms. For those ordinary beings who have positive thing in their life, and with the positive karma, then they will be able to take rebirth in the human or heaven realm.
所以呢，就我们所说的修破瓦法的话，应用的时机就是那个时候这样大家都就清楚了。那当然我们要非常的熟练这个破瓦法，如果不熟练的话，当一个人生病的时候，可能头脑也不会很清楚。如果不熟练的话，就是更想不起来是什么东西的所以是这样的。然后呢，很重要的一个东西就是，当真正自己的隐没次第这些实现，当自己知道要死亡的时候，第一个要断掉的是对自己的财产、家人、亲人、朋友的贪心、贪执、执着，一定要断掉 这个时候我们不断掉也没有办法，你要走了干嘛呢？所以一定要断掉对这些如果是自己有财产的话，如果是最好的话，就是供养三宝或是做布施。如果自己没有能力这样做的话，那你就打自内心的放下所有的财物其他的人他们要怎么做就让他们怎么去做这就是这样，但就是自己千万不要升起任何的贪执，这是一个然后对自己的家人亲属也是一样的不要有任何的牵挂就是那个就是担心这个担心那个没有用的。你现在自己要走了，你担心也没有用，不担心也没有用的。所以自己要走，就是好好的一心一意的专注在往生西方极乐世界目的地，然后呢就是观想阿弥陀佛以根本上师无二无别，一心祈祷自己要做的事情是这个，这是非常重要的。很多人在快要死亡的时候就放不下这个放不下那个，这是非常非常这个困难的一件事情所以当这样的时候就障碍自己的解脱，障碍自己这成就，尤其是对这个生存者也没有什么帮助任何帮助任何意义都没有所以呢这个时候我们一定要常常自己想到要对自己的家人这个那个东西，然后就是这个会怎么处理我的后事，这些不要去执着。你现在要做的就是自己要好好的往这个去向要好好的走就是要这样想，这是非常重要的。
So thereby we have learned on when is the right time to utilize the poor practice. And also we really need to be familiarize ourselves with this poor practice very well, because when a person is sick, the mind is very blurry, it's very hard to think. So if you're not really completely familiar, you may not be able to remember the practice itself. And also, another very, very important point to take on is that at the time of when the signs of dissolution appear, the signs of dissolution, or when these signs, dissolution of senses, when they have occurred, the first thing you need to do is eliminate your attachment to your own wealth, your possessions, as well as your loved ones and families. Because at that time, there's really nothing else you can do because you are dying. If you have any wealth possessions or involved, then you engage in practice generosity, or simply just give up the attachment to them and just realize that just let it be, let these things be, however they will move on, however they will be with, let them do whatever they want with it. So, and also we need to let go of our attachment to our loved ones and family, because at that time you really can't do anything else for them. There's nothing else you can do for them. You just really you shouldn't be worrying this and that and really try to think about what's going to happen. And so there's nothing else you can do at that time because you're dying. You really need to let go of your attachment of them. So you need to let go of these attachments. Really just place your focus on liberation, on taking rebirth in the Pure Land, and also to focus on taking rebirth in the Western Pure Land, and then to focus on your Rugru and Amitabha is inseparable, and really focus on your practice. There are actually many people who couldn't, at the time of dying, they weren't able to let go of these attachments they have. And then later on, these things become an obstacle to their liberation. And that itself really doesn't help anyone at all. It's really, really useless. So there's really no need to worry about this, to worry about that, and what's going to happen after you pass. You really just need to focus on how to become liberated, how to attain liberation. Really focus on how you can lead this world properly, in the correct way, and to focus on your practice. So this is actually very, very important.
盲眼其实基本上的话就是破瓦的部分就讲完了接下来的这些部分呢，我就跟大家把念传承就是把传承念完了就基本上就可以了
So this really concludes the poetry itself. So lastly, I will finish giving you the oral transmission of the text, and I will complete the teaching.
因为我在念的时候，你们可以把 你们的法本里面的中文也好、英文也好，你们也可以自己读啊。
So while I recite the translation, you can also look at the Buddhist English Chinese version of the text, so you can just read.
破丹巴破维奥丹巴木昆比人巴呢，丹德瓦拉多杰什么中了，头发加上那种不是中文中当嘛中国的。从这上面呢，就觉得人们就把用的多个事儿，基本上沙拉拉，基本上的，今天木什么办呢？人格实力就碰不得你，看这个都是那边嘛，可能嘛，不是就是让你别多的钱呢。像正南克这个像我普通个听的种子的什么出年乔巴就根本商业嘛这个他们搞你的农民特别他妈的南克样子出来吧，有那都是真的这里。这个跟点呢，把个水果这边点呢，当面都个钱呢，前当然让人明白，当然我们这个不把大卫就我们的理解，就是的当然也那的，理解呢，中国呢，在我们开始从弄搞了这把的，我们不的，这样要用刚才嘛有人理解会中国呢有比较我们这边这样去跟这样明白从明白。他们现在都我往常就这把的有的日本嘛，他们这把嘛就比们把啥有的，这几门的这啥吧，那么们把当那么老板们周围去的，其中个点么，但是中华电产你这当他把当到底能他里能什么去的吧？也那是我从别个干点讲，从开学吧，但是还不有的吧，或者从那从个高班从明白。那马的我所知他的那啥子，这个是看人把的他们就啥了的，样式从来一弄，的呢啥我们的那个应该，他那你们自己一个把他们这个有把什么的弄个这个经常搞完这个，那把就是我们的弄个人个什么那么些节目一个是有。얼마 고랑차 서로동지 바 다소 롱기 다바다라 바른다라 저들이 요다바 데타와주 본데 데 리파심지 에너지 예네딘 이런 거 쇼 지금 담에서 만남 발마나 지고 제지 도바르 고제디 도다 나도 가마도니 마다에다는 스머스타지 동안도 모두도 섬에 탐지진 데비도 섬이 특지 대른조도 관련자의 라마인 바라나바 섬이 쫓는데 공공공에 그놈도 말하고 바마라게 통보다 유신분진 제바다위 절지우선 이념적과 동안 취미시지 들지 강위 홍제된 전에 반쪽고这个 총발을 쇼드 비차르의 제너그 나슈바나 선수로라 뜨든나서 샤블랑 프로도나 소반찬 노버 선지산이다 호주도 호주지는 우동 오르면 담에 그 좋아지 더가죠 사는 디아예스 자라근이 이런 거 받자에도 홍수도 하고 자지우 전에 동원이 되게 탐모자라가 요는 예홍미 히르그런 진통한데 나요는 홍미 바가 이완한 데메도 다만한테 지탁을 가시 오빠미데 지요 요는 저라 탐지 뜻도 니비도냐 소미도 보셔도 지금도 나와가 샤원이 돌지 다주도 딱 선전바대 니가용 노절도 비게 노절도 비잔치 저승지 비바대용 오도 밤에도 대신 달아오니 비다를 저버돌지 저런 모종 동세환이 조도는 조도 동자리 따라 저버정이 답지 저 바보 됐습니다. 답을 너무 뭐 라자몽 버와디비 라마 탐지의 동의 가다 전부 저가들 시간이 랑전에 생긴 됩니다. 제비 자치쇼 준비 생겨서 지비도 교공이라는 생기는 탐지의 거라당한 성물등을 가지고 진다고 전에 대비된 친구들 사람은 하나님의 주도도 괜찮지만 손에 쟤는 점남 가르쳐디 공자와 소년 사월도에 공부를 지어서만 어디니 예치시리지 따라봐 알고니리 바쁘서 먹은 제만 들어가던 제 돈드는 데들이 정말로 정말도 벌도 선행고 보면 빨리 정말 저도 저 시간 지문 좋다 이마 오늘은 어떤 조문은 나 소원이요 영주 그때서 넘버를 줘가는 탐지도 청월을 차락선 땅을 지마 이든 무기동을 이든 무기 만체도 차락선 뒤 영을 지마 나 영주 그 자사 넘버를 줘 란낙섬을 줘도 뒤도 같이 라마 보고 보면 무기 치마키가 내려가 심지티는 저 코나리 코나라 심성테니 가지고 대간지 등에 그네 그 나트를 줘다 당연히 들어가서 이제
말고 대열동의 그 되게 정자요 남바 전에 됐다고 된들 줄을 시대 좀 진도로 송 쇼 송요 그런 돈은 바 돈님들 그게 주주들 진짜 방안다 야르네 선대오 보면 이제 그런 거를 삼용 님들 저희가 살아나 뭐가 스나르터지 그러니까 다는 놈은 예수가 주되 되니까 저는 누구가 산나 그까 주는 빠르정 값 주되 비 말아 비 뭔가 샤프로 요대 좀 그를 가르 주는 말 배출면 영전에 그는 뭐 보면은 손에 그런 집에 가르 줘서 나를 따르지 지으면 단 그릇이 장어 때는 영어 전된데 나 손에 저도 저도 나는 되는 와서 나 소가 주비 다들 된다 상대고 jan 지금 소 조치네니 디바 그런 집에 지바 동상 보면은 성도를 인간은 정으로 이제 사회는 밑에 스타일 집에 라면나로 저 본조로 신주로 그냥 본조로 가서 저를 신주로 더 선대 되는 것처럼 어디가 있는 저를 신주로 제 나선 이만 인디아 저를 신주로 지 라스미샤 저 파초소 날 때도 지금 참고를 정리는 전에는 좀된데 아티브진 샤파서 나그러 담는 저기 뭐 하는 일 이제 비슷한데 이 마음에서는 들어보면 것도 되게 좋아서 그런데 또 그때 지저스라 되어 사람 가지고 신주로 또 선은 주로 되는 시비 정보를 신주로 나선 제 특별 지마요 저를 또 가져서 내가 이노 선님 지만이 본도 홍치는 형태가 그 저도 좀 많이 있어요. 영향을 받는 데면은 좀 되는 거죠. 소니 제대로 잡지 도르면 고체가 주고 증기 리바디 성토를 집 남이 좀 서울에다가 오늘 좀 줄지는 고체 줄지는 고체가 또 보니 제대로 까지도 지 보지 제대로 좀 거기 제대로 있는 좀 지배 거기 나온다는 줄지 정말 되는 저 선집에 좀 요즘 뭐는 좀 요즘에 좀지 남이 성토를면 제남이 성토를면 나 강타를 영을 제대로 들으면서 담치다 뭐 그러면서 나 차별은 이제 저들 진수고 지금 있어서 이 성적이 되는 거지. 라미 란정 때문에 산발제 지 라마니 포트도 도바 탐치대 좀 같이 지 보는 도그레신이 진디베서 또는 좀 초벌선서 선디베 때만 이 지종 어떤 좀 주긴 정말 다 있는 강타를 영전 남도 정선문자 장득의 배들을 지 성을 지는 들기가 있는 노용 안남주 보롱의 그 뒤짐 남이 멍소가 보아다 비디스는 남중세 뒤제세 지역 성토요가 다 멈춰버려 동네 다 같이 근들 남주가 동네 남주가 소스 돈을 받는 돈 받는 정선 받다가 보면 제대로 연도 잡아 정화 손님 다른 조각을 그러니 아영서 제답이 제대로 하다 남주도 전에 루트바다 너는 양발 저한테 쇼트 그 집비로만 탐지도 소선한 생활이 좀 오범 메달라 오범이 고대지 내용 나타나니까 지금 오범이 공부 제보면은 제보하면 바꾼동 말고 작집상이 점령도 집중을 교육 과정이 연접하는 아침에 시제들서 강외 제보는 보선 전선 그 카드는 바클라도 전지 조선지 주바티도 조금 오늘 말하는 정도의 수화집 결사 동안 지어송소 온도는 디테일 남원의 정신을 지대비 시거 정주와 있는 데니 여전히 보고 정치가만 나타나도 랑인 치위체리나 자리티는 그것도 데이터를 좀 스톱 정용의 연구나 지시를 절만 좋아 정말 답지 그것도 동주도 이반 다고 많은 이유가 난된 지정 구바이노 저게 뭐 교회에서는 내가 지금 몰라서 봐도 저 데이터를 좀 보다면 지도 남지는 정선들의 인랑도 좀 그렇고 그런데 좀 때문에 정말 이거도 또 돈을 좀 외우고 하고만 상대에 좀 지방 소화들 임벌 일라나미 것도 나오는데 이때부터 저를 소롱고 어떤 롱고 자초도 양선 벌인 시작요 득들고 또 좀보 리처는 저라 년이 이베 신지로 보험하고 상진지체도 어디 들어서 이거가 산이 다리들라 Nyongbo long a che mustabi selda samni choki chakura tatar de merje rongjen de samni rongjen shini im jong a tong je blo ji de jinde na me shini ke a pong de ja thari phayon na tan de la to de ba che yong ta be shini Tene gong shi de la ba de tong shi gong do de gong zhu gong gong zhu de jiao zhe zong ni ta bi lam ji ding shi jia shang zhu chou de sim ji de jia ji ji shu ba jiang zu gong gong du ji xin hua gong de la tene ni ba ta ji ta du tong du ji guo ni shao ge shen ji zheng de ma zhe de pe de yong de ji ta ba song de shi dou song xian de ji Lama da sola tabete to bo jeron de la che ba de mo no ko on do che de kan na dang la tar ma shin bar cha to ba de shon na ta ba jong tan jero ko mo ko san je che nyu san je de chen de ko jing ni la de to ba jong on do lo do je dang thari pha na de ni ma ma yin ne bi ngim jong che de jong la ma tham che che go shi yu na tham che che jong ne yu shin la tin lam che tim de de ka ba de jang do je zong shang ju chang sen de shin zhe ge na ma tan na ba tham che che ba do san je ji lam yang da ba la che de she de de che de se zan de na ma su ma dang che go su ma da xiao qian de do le ge se che ba zhao ba la so ba tham che ji lam yong su do ba de zam de li ba yin la ta ba la na me ba do se ma dong man de la tin bi sao zhang ni dong za mo shin ba je sang ma la me sang lam la mi nam ju dong ma gong ba sang je la ko da ba ar nam ne che che di cha pre ji chu la na me ba yin no ta dong yong nyong de go do ji nyong go lam ji mu thang mu je thang ma yin bo ji ba la ne cha pre ji mo ro go ni ko sma dong se me ru ko sma dong se me ru ko na che de dong ji mo che de ba sa chong ne on connaît les autres niam la région de Bayin au détre Shabbat de ko détre Shabbat de jong ce que nian cha dans de le ma connaît de la mi son du dan de ji son na ce de yo ba de rang ce que ji de pong chao ji de pong de ko da dang sen la ka ba ba zo ton ne ji shang de le jong song de ne ji zhan de ma mi ji ka ni song la song wa ta ma yo ba nam jiang ren ge gang zhen de tan ji de ka ji de ba ru de ne ji de ko ba yin la de da jong zhen de jong ne ta yo mu ko ne me zong de kan nong de long ne rong jun de ta yi me long de shi ne que non song de ta rang la yo ta me le ba ta yo ba de na ne jun mu zong song yi ren de 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 yong ta bi nam la ru tan ji ro je ka rang rong de chu bu ba yin be na chu ji la chi ge zhen ne ge shi ne ji chou ta ko ba yin na ta ma chou chong do de ba yin na zhou ji chou dan ba dang xi zhen yin ne ge mi chou dan yin de chou dan ge dang na za de ge yin ta ji chou ne ju min jia ju min ba yin ne ji song ba da dang ma wan chong zhou de ko ju dang rong se me je dao shi ji ne dan ba xi ji zong de le len tam ji de rong la da zhong跟动那个这个几把层次的看音呢的mo tong ge rong ji de chu ji de ba rong la de de yu bi ka ban de chen de ne che ro han ji chi chu ji sim la pan la ma tim ba la ton go jong wa yin de chu zhan ne pan ta bi chu chu la zhe de ba yin pan ta bi chu chu la lo nam jong wa de ne do na ta ri do na ta ri dam je je ma ni ne thom sa de ju la ma na ja da ma da ma da tu thom chu ta ba ren ge nyam sa long ne son je rong da tu yu bi ka ba de che ro ta ne chi chi这个呢，大理马祖呢，大理罗梁呢，大理你呢，大理真呢，但呢老木当，但你经常呢，这工地基咱们那这个别人我你妈去几多呢？第到等七月干嘛的？前地罗那当，中地做工的呢，给这个当这个呢，把人参与跟咱去，那么的就送到，当到罗用装什么工作什么的，的觉得呢工作我投资的呢，我所觉得不是牺牲，咱们往上去先当。Ngone nyam le so jong ni la ba te thar thamo ki dong tam chu na ba ta bi go ne je de dan je la ma cho thong tu ya ye me den de chen de ta sa no sha sa ma ga na sim je na tam che ko ri dong dong do lo stop je kri che ne o dang la ka na tam che ti ba yin no te de je sun man na de se je dan la mi sa che ma ngar mo che de rong ge ta bi nyam le chen go na de ma no yo san de bi ko na chu shi de se ge ben ba na yong do ne yang za ba nyam le na na ji ro de 냠냠 잡지 담바 투비 제들 lep신 요로 카진다 싱은 투스면 주디 하고들 총분의 자라다마 도지 통주게 영도 단주난 진행해봐 lep신드는 탐케 정반다 임종원 나신 보정사나 성주심지 사원의 작품이 소정 탑지윤데 디지나 lep신드는 가정로 동다 롱주는 성내 지티 종진의 정윤된 탐케 너케 라는 저런도 똑똑 판단 가지고 들리는 lep신드는 마마 그근다 직접 많이 돈지 잡는 잡체는 저는 성에 담기자로 마야를 잡신다 능거 노르 도거는 영토람 전거기 판동도가 되는 담비 좀 어떤 년가 지금 마인데 파동 종이가 영토람 레고도 심화는 자주에 좀 주세 지금 주가 제용 노르모이지 그거를 지가 정동도 다고 돈비 카페죠 육주도 로청주 원념는가 대사정의 시다다 돈든 로청주의 세집지도 로만 이지만 바람이 어진 돈성 알아서를 주미들 로만에 있는 샤염 슬라제 개바동 종로 담버 마셔 돈치정 담비 망업진든 통동조도 냠냠 나지 리정 루정을지 동금 만들도 뱀비 복진동 유저 시인진비 접하고 런지도 초마몽이 접즈는 람든 동난 그 타마시드 샤게만 특급 구성 몽투정 양승자분 르몬 정케정 줄단 전드는 라미 잔지는 마사버를 롱조 특히리 롱로 처리 제반들은 달라미는 소멸라마 성지 무션데 건조지 생각하던 거를 저기 뒤도 때리는데 다도된 제주 달라온 대자용도 가이 여다를 돈에비 제용 담비 전린데 담비 전리데 무기 사바정보다 라와리 발라니라 이들은 large 지대지 사바리 산님 준비 가정 강서 정선도 통나 라마 탐제 라마 선제지 무슨 무기 지대지 동 제주 동 송선달라 노르트 메담녀 데다데라 강서 토바이 기와티 일 마르진 조아 컨디션인 담바즈니 담비송 주빈빌로 공유지르 차벌 통밀라마 조성지 이 샤지드스 경타도 소수도 선제니 도인데 지방 동저지 담비 려시드 뜻스 지도스르데 담비 요르 가르성 있는 그비 전진라미 열처분 총놈의 좀 자고 돌진 찰라 단지르 지고 도정동의 새로운 답제도 어멈초동이 진주 그 단대 줄내 조성가 그거 정립이 지선전바 요지를 정 우리 타당은 리전은 타대도 리동 농주도 개발된 공원대 냠통하는 남지 용지의 정대는 대근을 조성제 비춘전쇼 내그 서영 지바른 보체 신앙님은 영가대원 처리서 웨리비온에스 텐트를 다신 정명남이 종들은 조거르쇼 대들어 동신의 연특 những thực thầm sinh nông cái chế dụng thông minh là người tam bi giờ chính thời trị bản đại dụng mà rồi chỉ là mi giờ rồi đồng tâm tam ta trong mà chỉ rong này không có thực là công nghệ dân trí sự kinh nghiệm sinh đi đó là sự sinh đi chỉ giờ chính chuẩn bị để chỉ dùng chỉ lần lần chỉ करवा तो chắc phải theo 양지도 너무 조금 만들어지 담반점비 결수 줄을 거지 그런 것도 어두지 장난이 뒤지는 수도동 제반은 일란전 뉴스마다 뉴스지 와도 성계 걸어와 또 다른 정보는 너무 담비 담가 버지 반점비 특지 용지도 용도 담비가 더 그런 거지 잠깐 다이 오들네 줄라미 잡지는 성주들에게 주니 아마 잡이 무게 수순이 지금 제시지 지역 성묘 용 너와 동산 주주들 성주의 정보 딩득 바티주들 매 말했지 오고 동을 더블 기바 다리 무트르 지비오 도르짐 제대로 나타미 로고 럭소 용동 로주지 제로 수비 도바라 텐니 성미들 주지 수진 рем든 성주 도지 잔하니 오진 주의 주지 온고지 mongo 주변 신다 있나요 돈드는 tum나 멤버와 아버로 보다 바우도 좀 간디 其日当我见三等求能个永文就人就是的地啊的翁波不中文比原的马场外面比经济世界的不是地上做的这个你这这我能学会的吧是这个这是一套吧刚跟同学学生等学生等什么等我朋友等儿他们个等过去找这个这个他们也来干等我嘛也都这个前期城市大个当大些不是经济红松南给我们真正进度是用的什么这样这边的是了不这个基本的用太比现在他这个浪潮的来变的我们国上的那个这里就都等这边讲小红金吧下边那边个这边个方面来面大概整体小州都上公边人就那这是讲说了就这里他也就是大概能这个上面里种就是这这么用出来的是都是的把这这边那个公共的用到去就我们通常用到的今年中嘛那个呢你老那个人就所以这一上的话，我们就普贤上师言教，这个整个我们就讲完了。所以我们基本上花了3年多吧，花了3年多的时间。这个过程当中呢，传承的部分我是没有漏掉，大家通常就是没有缺席的人的话，大家这个传承已经就圆满了。然后呢，作为我们一个修行者的话，真的是我们要闻思修，不断的要闻思修不断的闻思修，这个是唯一的出路。我们得到了这个小小的人生，我们如果是在这一个生命当中，我们不做一个出路的话，我们来世就是很难了。我们能不能够遇到佛法，或者能不能够投身到有佛法的地方，都很难讲。所以我们现在有了这么大的福报，能够投身到人，遇到佛法，遇到善知识，可以闻思修5根圆满这样的情况下，我们就好好的把握这个机会，把握这个生命，然后呢就真的需要反省自己。然后我们在这个华住仁波切所讲的这个大圆满前行里面，如果大家有缺席的部分的话，至少把这个法本缺的部分都念完所以今天的后面的这些部分都我们讲是以前有讲过，但是呢，大家还是要把它念完一个字一个字的读完闻思完，这样的话也是算是一个圆满的缘起，完整的一个缘起所以呢，最后呢，我们就今天在几年下来，我们所闻思修这个前行的这个一切功德，回向一切有情众生脱离轮回痛苦。愿世界和平，愿一切具象上师能长久如水长转法轮，愿我们所有的道友们修行上无障碍，圆满的能够成就自己的修行而做回向。
So here we have completed the teaching on the words of our perfect teacher today. We have utilized more than 3 years to this teaching throughout this time. I have not missed any delayed transmission. As for those who have not missed any session, you have received a complete lineage transmission of this teaching. And also, as a practitioner, you have really need to continue to engage in learning, contemplating, and practicing of Dharma. This is really the only way to do so. The only way out to engage in your path. With such human adventures that you have now, it's really hard to say whether next life you're able to take rebirth in the place of Buddha Dharma, etc. So now that you have this this immense merit that you're able to take birth as a human realm, you're able to encounter the genuine Buddha Dharma, to encounter the genuine teacher, and with all the advantages that we have, such as the 5 senses. It's really necessary for you to really take upon this opportunity to engage in what is the right thing to do to learn, contemplate, and practice. So this is something that we always need to reflect upon ourselves and to always remind ourselves For those of you who may have missed a class session, it's very important for you to at least read the contents that you have missed, so that it's also considered as a completed origination for you, that you have really completed the complete teaching itself. So hereby we're going to dedicate all throughout this years all the merits of we have accumulated through learning and contemplating of this teaching from past years, for all the sentient beings to attain liberation, for long life and prosperity, for all the genuine Dharma Guru and all the lineages, and as well as for all the practitioners who have no obstacles in their path and able to accomplish success in their path of Dharma practice.